Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Eddrick Show. I am your host, Eddrick Jerome. This is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, and you'll get notified when I post content each and every week. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation. My guest is award-winning writer, director, and producer Parneille Walker. Her critically acclaimed film, Love is Blind, is currently, and I mean this sincerely, it's currently one of the hottest short films on the film festival circuit in the country right now. The sharp and heartfelt romantic comedy explores the chaotic and often cringeworthy reality of modern dating, and it has earned multiple accolades, including Best Short Film, Best Acting, Best Romantic Comedy, Best First Time Filmmaker, and a host of other awards. Parneille has successfully and skillfully transitioned from a successful career as a post-production supervisor for major studios like Warner Brothers and Disney into a powerful, new, and refreshing voice in filmmaking. Parneille, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm like, that's
That's you.
me.
That's you. I've experienced it. We'll get into it, and I get a chance to see your film, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, you've captured something here that people are really responding to. So let me first start out with my first question, which is, um, what was the inspiration, the spark behind the creation of Love Is Blind, and why did you want to tell this story?
Well, truthfully, what really inspired me was I'm already a writer. I had been working behind the scenes and I had not been fully utilizing all my talents. I work in post-production now. I'm a post-production supervisor. And although I really love that, I have the opportunity of working on some great shows that have aired on television networks, shows that you've all seen. And I was just like, I want something on my own. So that was like kind of the original spark. I'm like, I moved to Los Angeles to write. And I had not really done that. I've been writing on my own, like how to, I have an arsenal of scripts. I just haven't released them, haven't produced them. And so that was like my immediate spark. It was like, we're coming off the strike and we're all back at work. The show that I was on, it got canceled. And I was like, "Ugh, I gotta get my own stuff out there." So that was like my initial spark to write and actually finally make this film. And then I had written the short already as like kind of a three-part series that I was planning to just put on YouTube. And I was like, you know what? This is like part two of the first one. So it's a part one, a part two, and a part three. And I was like, which one would really like hit? And I was like, well, I'll just do this one. And what inspired me to actually write it at all is just over the years, I've just like had some horrible, horrible dating experiences, like as most people do in general, but especially in LA, this is just like a weird place to live, a weird place to date. And so I was like, well, what do I know best dating in LA? So that was what sparked me to actually write the story. And I was like, there's just so many things that that you can write about in regards to dating. There's so many stories. So I was just like, let me just start with this one. Let me just come right in the middle of the story and just like let's just go right in. So that's what sparked my interest there.
And as I mentioned in the opening, you're winning all kinds of awards. It seems like everyone you go in, you walk away with some hardware, and which is not easy. That's rare. A lot of films, there are a lot of people that go to film festivals. A lot of people don't even get into film festivals. So you're at a situation where people are really, really responding to this film. I had a chance to see it at the Sacramento Film Festival. It was electric. The audience was engaged. They were laughing. They were really, really into it, and that seems to be the response all over the country. So as you go to all these different film festivals, what part of the audience reaction or the critical audience reaction or the way people are responding to the film, were you surprised at just how people are gravitating to this film? And how rewarding is that to know that the film that you've created is really touching people and it's something that people really want to see?
It's definitely very, very, very rewarding, for sure. And I was surprised. I was really surprised because, you have these ideas in your head and you write them. And the very first screening we did, I was so nervous. Like I couldn't even laugh. Like I was just sitting in the theater, like I was sweating. I was just like, because this is like my first time not just showing this film, but just showing any of my work at all. And it's kind of one of the things like as a creator, other people may this may resonate with other artists, but when you first when it's your first time putting something out there, it's very vulnerable. It's very like you just feel like I'm all out there and you want people to like it. And so you're just sitting there and I was just like, I really hope people like it. I hope people like it because I think it's funny. I love it.
It's
You know,
hilarious.
I
It's really, really funny.
Thank you. And it's kind of like one of those things where like people tell me like, you're so funny, like me as a person, like you're so funny, you should be an actor. And then I tried it and I'm not good at it. So I think I'm just I just think I'm funny to my friends. And so like as far as this film, I was like, I hope it's not one of those things where like I think it's hilarious and no one else does. So while I was sitting in the audience and I was just like hearing people just laughing at every single beat that I wrote, like everything that I intended to be funny, everyone laughed at it. And it was just amazing to me. Like it was very shocking. Like I said, because you just don't expect people to like love your work. And it was exciting. It's so rewarding to just know that like this little idea that I wrote down and it was in my head and now it's on the page and now I'm shooting it that people really, really love it. And I know that people support me and I tell people, I'm like, it's not like people left the theater and they were like, oh, congratulations on your film. Good job. Oh, way to go. People were like, I love it. And there was real laughter. And so I've been able to see it in my hometown now, where a lot of the people in Sacramento, I feel like it was kind of like half the audience was my friends and family, and then the other half were other filmmakers and strangers that were just community members that wanted to go to the film festival. So that was really special to me because so far we've gone to cities that are film cities, like Atlanta, New York, and Cannes, and France. And so it's like these are film cities where people are used to seeing films, but going to places like Sacramento, um, and it just feels so good because it's like these are real film goers. Like these are people who just love films. And so the reaction that we're getting everywhere from colleagues, from filmmakers, from community members, family members, it's just been like across the board, people love it. And it just means so much to me and the cast and crew. So it's great.
That's a great segue because my next question was going to be, I mean, you can have a great script, you can have wonderful director, you can have just an amazing story, but without a cast that brings it to life, it sometimes can fall flat.
Mhm.
Brandon Fobbs and Ivana Erskine, they have fantastic on-screen chemistry as well as the rest of the actors in the ensemble. Um, Tell me about your process for casting those actors because they really embody and bring your story to life. And how did you work with them to develop the comedic timing that you need for a film like this?
Well, first of all, they're all so talented. How I came up with the casting was number one, the first person that I casted in my head was Brandon Fobbs. Um, he, Number one, he's got a great resume. Like he's been on everything, like The Wire, This Christmas, Getting On, Pride. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's NCIS. Like, I mean, he's just a phenomenal, very well-rounded actor. And at the same time, he is my very good friend. Like, he's one of my best friends. So I knew he could bring the funny. Like, he's just naturally very funny. And like, we play well off of each other as far as like jokes and things like that. So yeah, so that's how I casted the guy. So I'd already had Melvin Jackson Jr. in mind as I was writing. And Ivana and the other young lady, Asha Davis, they both came. Melvin recommended Asha, and Brandon recommended Ivana. And I've known Ivana for years and years and years. And she comes from her background is modeling, dancing. Like obviously she's very stunning, very physically stunning. But she comes from being a model, being a like a music video model, actress, and things like that. But so she wasn't at the forefront because I just always consider her to be, a model. But she turns out to be I mean, amazing actress. Like she's won Best Actress at many festivals, actually, including Sacramento Film Festival. Um, so yeah, but she and Brandon, the on-screen chemistry, a lot of it came natural to them because they both also have known each other for a very long time. Um, and quite honestly, all of them, I met them at church. So we've all been friends, like kind of family, church family for many, many years. And so, when I brought this project up, they were just like, okay, let's do it. But as far as their own chemistry, they kind of had it naturally. They're both very talented. They both trusted each other. But we also did do like a rehearsal, just to kind of like get them comfortable before we were like brought it to the set. So we sort of did me and the DP, Crystal Rose Holmes, and the two of them, we just kind of sat together and blocked out, the intimacy and like, how they were going to react. And um, I just basically gave them my vision and told them like what I was kind of building towards. And they just nailed it. They knocked it out the park. But yeah, some of it I can't even take credit for. They just had it naturally, really.
And for a first-time filmmaker, let me also just say the production value of the film is very high. It's high quality. It looks great. It's stunning. The music is
Yeah.
fantastic. The way it flows, the editing, it's just got a great look. It's highly polished. So, talk to me about some of the other members of your production team, and how you were able to work with them to get I mean, it's a really, really high quality, well done film.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Well, first I'd say like the visual, that was definitely like the collaboration of my DP, Crystal Rose Holmes, and our camera operator who Eno Yang. She is an AFI graduate, so in cinematography. So, and she teaches at the university, CSUN at Cal State University, Northridge. But Crystal Rose Holmes has spent over 20 years in post-production as a post supervisor. I mean, sorry, as a post-production, producer. And so she's used to like guiding, the finishing look for a lot of major top productions like oh, dang, what is it? I mean, just big stuff like Legion, Grownish, Black Lightning, just the list goes on and on. Like she's overseen post-production and a lot of major productions. So she helped guide a lot of the shots and the look and the composition of the shots, to just help me get like the best, production value shot wise. So I owe a lot of the look to her and then as far as like the technical aspect of like the color, she and Eno worked on that like, in tandem. And then the music, you mentioned the music. I had this really great composer. I always call him the savior of the project because I didn't have music. Like I was just like, I need help. And my post producer who worked for post, her name is Aisha Horn, she found the composer and he came and just knocked it right out. He just got the vision. He understood we had a call, like we had like an hour call where I told him what I was looking for, my vision and things like that. And he just went to town, went ahead and scored it with his partner Will Brown. And he's got credits like Tyler Perry's Fatima and Sisters and things like that. So he's a lot of mostly everyone I worked with on this, my colorist, major colorist in the industry. His name is Gareth Cook. He has colored like I can't even list all the things. Like he's been in the business over 30 plus years. Working for Technicolor and things like that. But he's done Black Lightning, also Grownish, Papa's House, um, what's the other one? Swagger, just you name it. Just so many more powerful projects. So these are like industry professionals that I have been, you know, having building relationships with over the years. And I just call them. Like the thing that I learned most about this is like you just never know who will say yes. And so I'm like, all these people are major professionals. And I just asked them, like, would you be in my film? Would you help me with my film? Can you do the color for? Well, actually, I didn't even ask um Gareth to do the color. We were already working on a project. We were working on Papa's House, and my producer was like, "Oh, you know, Parneille has a short film." He was like, "What? You didn't tell me. I want to see it. I want to see it." And so he saw it, and he's like, I'm gonna do the color on this." He's like, "I'll do it," and I was like, "Oh, well, thank you. I need a color." So he just liked it so much, and he was like, "I'll do it." And um, you know, of course, I mean, it wasn't free, but he did it, and it just, I don't know, I just feel like I just was blessed to have like a power team, you know, and it's just all based on who I knew, just my network of people, and you know, I hadn't asked for a lot, so by the time I had a script and was ready, I just, I just went ahead and asked them, and they all said yes. So,
Well, like I said, it really shows. It's just I mean, I think that's why it's everything coming together, and it's just a fantastic piece of work. Um, you talked a little bit earlier, and we mentioned a couple times now about film festivals. And one of the things I like about my show is I get to talk to filmmakers like you and a host of other folks who are in and making films. And I always ask them about their film festival experience because you're on that grind right now. I mean, you're all over the place with this film, and rightfully so. But tell me about your film festival experiences. Did you have a lot of experiences with film festivals before Love is Blind? And maybe what are some of the takeaways you've learned from the film festival experience that you're currently going through right now?
well, it's been a journey. I didn't have much experience with festivals. I had been to a few festivals, like I had been to Pan African festival years ago. Had been to Hollywood Black Film Festival years ago. Been to Sacramento Film Festival. As Marty mentioned, I was his intern when he was at Access Sacramento, and so I kind of helped him when they were, I guess when Access Sacramento was sort of, I don't know if they were running the Sacramento Film Festival, but I used to volunteer at the festival. So I had a little experience, but I wasn't like a avid like film festival attendee. Like there's a lot of people I know that are just like, well, I went to this festival. They make sure that they go all the time. So I hadn't been in that realm, but so coming in as a filmmaker, my first time coming as a filmmaker is a totally different experience than being a volunteer and just being a regular, festival goer. So you kind of get to see like the behind the scenes of how things are actually really work. And there's just the festival circuit has been very, very positive for me as a whole. It's been very positive, very rewarding. I've met some great people. My favorite part is meeting other filmmakers, like how I met you. Like you're a fellow filmmaker, and that's been my favorite part is just meeting the other filmmakers, seeing the other films, and learning from the other films too, and learning from the other filmmakers. I always say like it's really nice to like I didn't get into the festivals to like, win awards or anything like that. I just wanted people to see the film. And so it's really amazing that we are winning awards, um but what I really like is just being there and just being in the room with all these people. And like I really love seeing the films and being around filmmakers that are like better than me. So that because I it makes me want to step my game up. So so I don't know. So it's just I don't know, it's just been really rewarding. There's some festivals that are really, really small. And I've just seen the array of festivals. Like each festival has a different vibe, a different tone, a different organizational skills. Some festivals are run by one person. Some festivals have a team of a few dozen. Um, some have a handful of people. But it's all been really, really great, really rewarding. I'm so thankful to have been a part of all these festivals. Um, and even, some that I feel are not as run very well. Um, have still been rewarding and still been very fun. And I've come out with meeting some great people and great filmmakers. So I just recommend to any filmmaker, even if you do a short run, even if you just go to a few film festivals, like definitely do film festivals, because it just kind of expands your network, expands your network and it gives you more audience, because I feel like each festival kind of people see it and they're like, man, I wish I should have gone. I should go to this. It's kind of like building the buzz, each
Exactly.
festival that we go to. So
Exactly. One of the highlights for me, like I said, I know, we met at the Sacramento Festival, but one of the highlights for me was you and I got to participate in a panel discussion about Black film with
yeah.
the legendary Marla Gibbs, which was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you felt about that panel discussion and sitting there with Marla Gibbs and just talking about filmmaking and her career. What was that experience like for you?
That was amazing. And you're right. That was the highlight of the Sacramento Film Festival for me, or just in general, this whole film festival circuit. That was so great. Honestly, I didn't even know I was going to be on a panel.
I
Probably
didn't
you
either.
didn't either,
I didn't either.
right?
No.
I was like, and then so I was just like, Marty was just like, you gotta come be a part of this conversation. Urban, what's it called? The Urban Film Summit.
Yes,
The
Urban
Urban
Film
Film.
Summit. Yep.
Marty and Vince, shout out to them if they are listening. Just wonderful job. Because side note, it's so special to have the Sacramento Film Festival have a Black film festival under its belt to give a light to to Black filmmakers, is really, really special. And I think it's just great that they do that because a lot of film festivals don't do that, A lot of the like, predominant, I guess the non-Black film festivals do not have like a special,
Right.
festival that honor Black. So shout out to them for doing that. It was beautiful having an urban film summit to talk about Black filmmaking, Black films, in the state of, Black films in the industry. So I was just sitting there as an audience member. I think we both were.
Yep.
We are just sitting there like, oh, let's just be a part of the conversation and see what we can know and learn. But I think you and I quickly realized that, like, no, you are an industry professional and people want to hear from you. So that's what I took away from it. But I'm just sitting there and they're like, we would like to introduce our first panelist, Parneille Walker. And I was like, what? Me? I was, I was coming there to learn and hear from filmmakers, the industry professionals, and and it was just great. And then you and I were sitting there, and then in comes, like you said, the legendary Marla Gibbs. That was crazy. And also me being a comedy writer and just watching her through the years 227 and um the Jeffersons and all of the great things that she's done. She's been like one of those people, and the work that she's done has been those things that we follow, like we
Yep.
model after, like especially me as a comedy writer. And Ivana was like, Marla Gibbs, like as an actress, like that's somebody she's always been looking up to. And she also works as a stand-in at Grey's Anatomy. And she said she stood in for her a couple of times because she makes a, recurring role. And so she's like to then be there at a festival with her, with having a film in the same festival is just like, it just
Yeah.
was everything. So yeah, that was truly special. That was really great. And I'm so thankful for that moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, shout out to Martin Anaya and Vince Miles for what they do every
Yeah.
year. It's just an amazing festival. I have a few minutes left, but I want to ask you now about your philosophy because, and I want to make sure I get this correct. One of or I guess one of the core philosophies behind doing what you do is that you want to, quote, tell authentic stories that reflect humor, resilience, and the depth of women and people of color. Can you expand on that and why that's just a fundamental aspect of your work and how you create?
Yes, I'm so glad that you asked that question because you send people your bio and your resume and all this stuff, and then no one asks those questions. But I love that because that's something that's very important to me. Like me being a woman of color, it is very important to me. So I feel like art reflects life, and also I feel like there's people in the world who have never experienced, certain people. So there's some people in Middle America, there may be like, a Caucasian person in Middle America, and all they know of African American people is what they see on TV
Right.
and film. And there might be somebody in Tokyo or China, and they only thing they've ever seen of African Americans is what, also what they see on television. And what that represents to them is what could be reality for them. So for me as a filmmaker, I feel like I have an opportunity to show like what it means to be like a Black woman to me, or what I've witnessed as, Black men, so for me it's important to, like, I feel like what telling authentic stories for me and for what my perspective is. So like the way I grew up, was in the suburb of Sacramento, South Sacramento. Shout out to South Sacramento. Where I wasn't surrounded by like trauma and violence and gangs and drugs, and that wasn't my story. So I can't really tell those stories from my perspective. Like, yes, I have known people that have gone through those things, and it was around me. Being in South Sacramento, there's a lot of stuff around me, but my immediate upbringing and the way I grew up, um in that wasn't immediately like, I didn't wake up with like, oh, let's go roll out on these fools and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So,
Hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that if that is your story, but that's not my story. So I can only tell that from a perspective of someone who has had a friend or family member who's gone through it, and may have witnessed it secondhand from them. But for me, the stories I can tell are the authentic stories for me, and what the standard is for me. And also the standard that I know to be true for a lot of African Americans I know, where we live a regular life like everybody else. So I think sometimes, non-Black people might think like, oh, this is how Black people are. Like they're all like, loving hip hop, or they're all like, power, and they're all, you know what I mean? And so I'm
Exactly.
like, I want to tell stories that show we wake up in the morning, we have our, avocado toast and our coffee, and we go to eat, and we go to yoga, and we do and then there's craziness within that, life is still lifing in that, but I don't have to duck bullets,
Right.
every day.
Right.
Have I lived in neighborhoods where that could potentially have to happen? Yes, probably, but just never came my way. So, and yes, I have had hard times. I have had challenges, but at the forefront, I see, Black men and women loving on each other. I had great example from my grandparents, great example from my aunts and uncles. Like, I just see the world differently, as an African American person, and I want to show that, and I want to show that this is reality to us. And not to keep going on and on, but I know
No.
when the Cosby Show was out, I don't know if you remember this, but as a kid, people were like, that's not real life, that's not realistic, that's fake. A doctor and a lawyer, and they're married, and if people were kept saying like, this is whack, this is fake, this is weird, this is not real. Like mama and daddy in the house, and they're both successful, and I was like, why can't that be real? Like I've seen that my whole life growing up. My parents, yes, they were divorced. But my dad's always been in my life. Like he's always been there, just not together. But I have, aunts and uncles, cousins that always came from a two parent family, two-parent household. So
Hmm.
I witnessed it all around me, so I'm just like, that's real to me, to see two Black parents successful in a household. That's not a fantasy. That's not farce. It's not a made up, it's not, and to me, it's the standard, not the exception. So those are the stories that I want to tell. I just want to tell the stories that reflect me and my family and friends. Um, and because I think that's important.
Yeah. Well, you are on the scene now. You have arrived. And again, congratulations on the film. Um I'm
Thank you.
as I do more of these interviews, I'm starting because I've had some people tell me, well, when you ask someone what's next, whatever that. So let me ask the question this way. What are your plans for Love is Blind, the short? Are you looking to make it into a feature or series or something like that? Because you have the opportunity to do something really, really special with this project. So what's next for Love is Blind?
Yes, definitely want to expand this into a feature or a series. My heart's desire is for it to be a series, but I know how hard that is to pull off. So I'm honestly prepared for both avenues, and I'm hoping to meet the right team or right person or people that can like put us into position to expand it in, in whatever way works best for the collaborator, whatever. But I'm fully prepared for both. I have a three season series sort of planned out, but then I also have a feature. So I'm like, whoever wants it. But I say this, like if at the end of all this, at the end of the festival run, um, we don't get any, but no one approaches us. Let's say that happens, which I don't think will happen. But if that happens, um, I'm saying it won't happen because I'm just
It's
believing
gonna
in the
happen.
Lord.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, thank you. But let's say it doesn't, and we get all the no's. Everyone says no. I'm going to expand this in some way, whether we crowdfund, pull all of our resources together as a team, but we are going to make Love is Blind into something more. So if we get all the no's from everybody, I'm just gonna pull our resources together and we're gonna do a series, and then we'll put it out there on whatever platform will have it that we can actually submit it to. And we'll just go from there and see what happens. But that's the plan. The plan is to not stop at the short for
Nice.
sure. There's definitely a plan to do more.
Nice. Well, again, I mean, the accolades can't come fast enough for this project, and you should be very proud. Your team, everybody associated with this project, should really be proud because it's you don't see this kind of reaction very often to short films, especially a rom-com like this. That's just it's funny. It's the characters are really interesting. The writing is fantastic. It looks amazing. And again, it's hard for me to believe this is your first film, to be honest with you. This was you have knocked it out of the park. So congratulations.
Thank
You're going to
you.
have a lot more success with this project. And I want to thank you for taking the time because, like I said, I know you were either on your way to Baltimore or coming back from Baltimore, and you've been in Atlanta and Sacramento. You've been all over the place. So I'm just glad that you had time to talk to me today, and I really appreciate you coming on the Eddrick Show.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we are coming back to Sacramento next week, the 5th, no, the 7th.
The Oak
To
Park, Oak Park, right?
Yeah, Oak Park
That's
Black
next
Film
one.
Festival. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So thank you so much. Thank you, Eddrick. And I'm so happy I met you. And thank you for having me on your show because
Oh,
I know
you're
you're busy
welcome.
too.
You're welcome. Well, I told you when I met you, I said I want to have you on because I like talking to innovative and talented, creative people. And like I say, my tagline is intelligent conversation with interesting people. And I wanted to have that conversation with you so that, we can continue that dialogue because it's so needed in this time for us to have a space for us to come together as creatives and just have conversation. So if people want
Yeah.
more information about the film or want more information about you, where can they go?
Well, I'm always on Instagram, at Parneille Pics, or just find my name, Parneille Walker. I am the only Parneille Walker. Also at Love is Blind, the movie on Instagram, and find out more about the movie at loveisblindshortfilm.com. And that's how you can find us
Excellent.
or find me.
Parneille Walker, award-winning director, filmmaker, writer, and producer of Love is Blind. Thank you so much for coming on the Edric Show. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
I'm so
welcome. This
happy.
has been another edition of the Edric Show. As promised, intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, and you'll get notified when I post content each and every week. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next episode.